Guys, what's going on? Today we have a comparison video for you. We have the Luxe Idol versus the new MacDev GTX, the pizza box marker itself. Pretty excited to do this comparison, guys. I think this is one that's going to be actually more interesting than you might think just by reading the title. So, without getting too much further into it, please, if you enjoy this video, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you like, leave a comment if you're new. Thank you for finding us. We're glad you're here, and we will catch you guys after the intro. Alright guys, so let's just get right on into it. The Idol has been a favorite of Joel's for a while, and I think you've spoken about it very much as kind of an unsung hero. It doesn't get the love that it deserves a lot of the time.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, the features of the Luxe Idol, in my opinion, are above and beyond anything on the market as far as, you know, the screen that you get, the toolless features that you get, the size, the efficiency, everything. It's just a really great marker. I think DLX did themselves a disservice by trying to price themselves over Planet when it first got released, and then on top of that, the new grips were not available for a long period of time, which both of those things I think drove the resale down pretty quickly.
Launch for any marker is important. It's the base concept of just first impressions are important, right?
Correct, yeah.
So,
but when you actually consider like the actual value and everything of that, like that of the marker, it's a great marker. So,
but then as a contender, we've been raving about the MacDev GTX.
We have, and I've got some things to say in the reliability portion of it that we found in our testing.
Yep.
But we'll get into that at another point. But whatever the case may be, the GTX is definitely a strong contender.
It's a good shooter. It feels good in the hands.
Yeah, and it comes in at a good price point.
Yeah, 15. It's 15 flat, right?
15 flat.
So.
Yep. So,
guys, let's get into it. Let's start off with the packaging. I'm gonna slide this bad boy out just a little bit here. So, for the Luxe packaging, comes in this, I'm going to call this a soft case. It's not completely soft, but it's not aluminum like some of your other options out there. It is big though. It is big. It's got some bulk, some heft. It's not lightweight, but it comes with everything that you could possibly need. It actually has this extra little kind of jacket inside of some bungees to actually hold your marker. That can come out. It is removable if you so choose. And then the other side, this is also removable, and I will take this one out. Has your barrels on one side, just the logo here, but then if you open it up, sorry, my zippers, you will find everything else that the marker would typically come with, being your startup manual, wrenches, lube, other chargers, more parts kit, and then another charger here. Like, you get everything else that you could need, nicely sealed, tucked away, in netting, behind zippers. Once again, startup manual. You have everything you need. Now, in my opinion, everything's protected, but a little hard to access.
agreed.
But you do get room for a ton of barrels in this thing. Like your front and your back, so there's two for your barrel front and back. But then you get, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 inserts. Not to mention, you can have an insert in your barrel back. So in total, you can carry 6 different barrel sizes just in your marker case. Pretty sweet.
That is very nice. Very nice.
Only thing is there's no carry handle. That's probably my biggest thing about this, is it's difficult to get stuff out with no carry handle.
They made a spot for a carry handle, but then didn't include it.
You can add one if you have one, but if you don't,
that was kind of weird.
Yeah, it's there you go. It's on this
yeah,
side.
they've got So that is a nice feature that if you want a carry handle, you can have a carry handle.
Yep.
One thing that both of these packages, in my opinion, is missing is the individualization. The old MacDev cases on the back had a slot for a card.
Oh.
And for us, when it comes to inventory and everything else like that, and for the consumer, it would be nice to know who's like, say if you've got a MacDev sponsored team.
If you're a team,
like, and they're all the same color, besides serial numbers, it can be really hard to tell whose case is whose. And kind of the same thing with this. You know, you do get the sticker on the side, but that's going to wear off.
Yep,
it will. Everything else like that. So that's one thing that I think all of the cases are lacking.
Did the Planet guns used to have that?
The Planet guns have never had that
No,
either.
okay.
Yeah, so.
I've never seen that on.
Correct. The older MacDev, like the Prime cases, had that.
Wow, that's a cool feature.
So it is a nice feature. All right, so the MacDev case, nice carry handle here. Nice metal zippers. I don't think you're going to have any problems there.
It's also sleek.
It is sleek, and it's definitely a lot smaller. I do like the size of the MacDev case more. You only do get a slot for one extra insert, so the barrel comes with 2 inserts. So really, you can't really add many inserts. So that is definitely a downside compared to the DLX case. It does have this nice parts kit with all kinds of labels. The power bank is something that's unique to the GTX.
They're super hype on the power bank.
They are, yeah. And it's a nice feature, you know? I mean, a power bank like this would probably cost you $40-50 if you were to just purchase something like that separate.
Also, they claim that you can charge the marker a disgusting amount of times on one full charge of the power bank without having to recharge it. So, and you can charge your phone.
And it's got all different cords. So it's got a lightning cord, it's got a USB-C cord, it's got a micro USB cord.
And it's a flashlight.
And it's a flashlight. You get a little bit of lube with the MacDev.
You get 2 lubes.
You get 2 lubes.
Yeah, you do. I keep finding it every time I look at it. It's like buried somewhere behind this.
And then you've got your MacDev Allen keys, which is basically just a normal
hardware
Allen key
store
set
Allen
that's
key
branded MacDev. But I mean,
I like an attached set like that though. I like
having individual Allen keys because trying to work on a marker with the actual Allen key set is a pain in the butt. As compared to, once again, MacDev used to have really nice set of Allen keys that were longer, so it was easier to access some of the more hard to reach Allen screws.
Here's a pro and a con
from that.
Those are great for teching, but when I'm at the field, it's so many people lose their chrono screw for different marker platforms. Right. That's why I like the one big chunky thing.
But let's be honest, no one's gonna not buy a gun because of their, lack of Allen keys. Go buy a pair from the hardware store. Nice little quick start guide and a nice barrel cover. Nothing too crazy there. I'd say it's pretty standard. So I guess for me, I think I've got to go with the Luxe case just because there's more options there.
Yep.
But
I'll forego the carry handle for all the storage I get.
Yeah, and the ability to compartmentalize pretty much everything with the Luxe case is nice.
Yep. It's kind of modular in that way.
Yeah, if this had more spots for inserts, I'd probably pick this. Just
because it's got the carry
I like
handle.
the size of it a lot more. That thing is bulky. That thing is bulky.
Fat.
But you feel like you're getting a premium case there because, yeah, it's bigger, but you get, your side compartment for your marker, you get your side compartment for your barrel, and everything else like that.
How much are the idols now, Joel, for the people?
$1,600.
Okay, so for $100 extra bucks, it does feel more premium, but I will also select the Luxe case, so 2 for 2.
Okay.
Next up, barrel. I do like the barrel in the MacDev. I don't hate it. However, the Freak kit has been around for so long, I think it gets grandfathered into a first place because if you already own that barrel kit, you don't have to buy anything else and upgrade anything else.
Yeah, I'd agree with you on that front too. One, I don't like the aesthetics of I think the Freak barrel system is much more aesthetically pleasing than the GTX barrel.
Sure.
And like you had said before, this takes shift 3 inserts, which I do like. It's proprietary, so I do like how it comes apart. You unscrew the barrel tip. It's a couple threads, so it's easy to pop off. You pull out your shift and you put your new one in, but like you said, you're going to have to purchase those separately. And let's be honest, there's a ton of Freak XL used Freak XL. We have them all the time, entire kits.
Yep.
And you already get 2 with the marker itself, which is the same with that. But I like how the Freak XL barrel points better and everything else like that. So yeah, I'm gonna pick the Freak XL.
I will as well.
Okay, feed neck.
Feed neck. The Luxe is a lower profile.
Definitely a lower profile.
Might be a little wider side to side, but it is a lower profile vertically, and I like it that way.
Yeah, I'm going to have to pick the Luxe on that as well, and my main reason is the lower profile. But one thing that the GTX does have is that there is a screw here, so if you want to take off your feed neck as compared to the feed neck on the Luxe, you're going to have to unscrew, and it's very fine threads, and you got to be very careful. Whereas with this, you just unloosen that Allen key, it pops right off just like the Planet markers do. That's a downside, but like, let's be honest, when it just comes to functionality,
take a feed neck off as well.
Well, it really boils down to if you're trying to like anodize a marker or something. If you're trying to strip it,
sure.
But yes, I've had plenty of Luxes in my time. I've never once had to do that.
Joel was a Luxe man for years before he got into being a whore, if you will.
Listen, I just had to see that thing for 2 years.
I know. I was faithful, man.
And just wait to see what we got in the bank for this year.
Yeah, so I know, man. 2025
it's coming soon because I got a tournament coming up and I need a dang gun. So I'm going to talk to my boy over at Armored Anodizing. We would get some cooking.
There you go.
All right, next up, eyes between the two system.
Okay. I don't really work on these things personally a whole lot. I will somewhat default to Joel. I remember though in other videos as we've been reviewing the MacDev, we do like the eyes on the MacDev quite a bit.
100%. I think the MacDev marker wins when it comes to the eye functionality. One, because you've got this magnet eye cover, and those eye covers can be kind of a pain in the butt to remove.
It's like a thumb. You got to get your thumb under it.
Whereas like this just pops out. It has a lensed system, which basically means there is a plastic lens in between the actual eye, as compared to that protects it from the chamber of the gun, so you can actually pour water to clean it out, or take your squeegee and clean it out.
So it's more similar to a dye eye pipe system in that way, right?
It is, yeah. Is
it kind of a cross between the mirrored system on some of the Planet Eclipse and the dye?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It kind of reminds me of a Planet gun too, because you get that kind of like the lens system, whereas like it's not going to fail.
Yeah,
it's it's not going to fail for the most part, and it's cable, whereas that is still ribbon, and that drives me nuts because the shocker is not ribbon. It's the only marker on the planet that is a ribbon design, and if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, if you've never owned a Luxe or anything else like that, it's very
finely threaded through.
It is very prone to ripping, and you gotta be very careful with it. So for that reason, 1, the eye covers I like better. 2, I like the lens system of the GTX, and 3, it's not a freaking ribbon. For those 3 reasons, the GTX wins.
Just for validity, and because I agree, the points are going to go to GTX. Does the LV2 not still use ribbon as well, or are they just cable?
They're cable.
Okay.
Yeah, they're cable.
Keeping it straight.
I think the LV2 is one of the subpar eye systems on the market because
I've heard you say that too. That's why I wanted to like bring that one up. I just couldn't remember what they were.
Good question.
All right, so battery. So we finally have 2 markers that are rechargeable, going head to head.
It's true.
No shit. Okay, so let's see. Pretty easy to remove the back piece on here.
Yep.
Very easy to just open the thumb piece on that one.
And that's one of the nice features of the new Luxe is that metal faceplate on the back. And
it's sick.
Yes, and instead of taking the grip off now, you just pop that faceplate off and charge it, and it's much more, I would say, robust compared to the TM40.
Yep. So here's my thing. I like them both. It's a USB-C. It's kind of a wash across the board as far as that goes. But this to me is more well protected from elements, from whatever. Because like that's got a rubber flap, and it's better. It's improved, but it's just a rubber flap.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to have to pick the GTX.
Okay, so we disagree.
Yeah, I do agree with you on the fact that it's more protected, but you get this power bank.
I do like the power bank.
And the power bank has got to be a $50 to $100 feature.
That's fair, which would bring it to an equal cost with the Luxe.
Correct. So, so I really like the power bank and being able to charge it on the fly as compared to having it sit in your car and having to charge it.
Fair.
It seems like the battery life on these is really good. Unless you put that in low power mode,
yep.
It can eat up battery. You're charging it pretty much every 2 uses. You're going to have to charge that thing if you don't put it on low power mode.
So as Joel has been using a GTX for the last couple of weeks, how much have you charged it?
0.
How
I haven't charged it yet.
Like 3?
No. I mean, all of
shooting
our
a ton here.
Yeah, so we're at like 6,000 or 7,000 shots on it because I used it last weekend, and then we've been testing it, and I haven't charged it. I don't know what the battery life is. I'll have to look at the silver one we've been using, but I do know that I haven't charged it, and it's not flashing low battery yet, so it's holding a good charge.
Joel, you might have convinced me. I do like that's more protective. But yeah, you got me because we made a point in a few videos ago where you could literally be charging that thing in the pit as you're getting ready and warming up because of the power bank.
Right.
And if it's got a better battery life, okay.
All right.
Fuck it, I give the point to the GTX.
All right. Next up, guys, we got the trigger between the 2. Man, this is going to be tough because I like the triggers on both of these.
I only liked the trigger on the one that you let me use for my first impression video. Did you fuck with that one?
The silver one?
The purple one.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's a bias because whenever I mess with triggers, Doug's like, man, I really like this trigger now. I'm like, Doug, it's just because I tuned it. But
it is very consistent.
But as far as like the shape and the actual pull and return of the trigger, which one do you like better?
I kind of like the GTX.
I kind of do too.
It's skinnier. I don't like a super fat trigger.
Neither do I. Yeah, I'm picking the GTX.
Think me with the Era, right? I like a more...
Yeah. I agree. I think that the thinness of the GTX wins for me. But a lot of people really like the Idol trigger.
I don't hate the Idol. I just, when these are head-to-head, man, I just think I really like the GTX.
Yeah, agreed. Okay. So both 2 points for the GTX when it comes to the trigger. Board/programming between the 2.
They both do have very nice LCD screens. Yeah. This one's bigger.
That one's bigger. I think
I don't have a lot of experience actually programming the MacDev.
programming on the MacDev is very simple. They're both colored. They're both OLED. There's a bigger board, bigger display on this.
You have to hold the trigger to get to both of their programming modes.
Correct. Yeah, I think when it comes to that, and I think that if I'm not mistaken, there's probably more firing modes with the DLX. Like if you're not a tournament player and you're just going out to play. I know that it has like a rebound and like a a full auto. I'm pretty sure it has a full auto mode.
It does.
So with that said, there's more options there. I'm gonna have to pick the Luxe because one, it's a bigger screen.
Yep.
But they're both like, as far as like functionality, if I'm just trying to change a fire mode, they're gonna be the same. So I'm strictly basing that off of this has a bigger display and
a couple more extra features in there.
Options. Yeah.
I will agree. I'm also going to go with the Luxe for the board and programming.
All right, ASA between the two.
Ooh, man, that's like... Oh, get a call.
Yep.
So, let's see. Lever
Both
system
lever.
opens completely flat.
Yeah.
Let me see that one.
This is going to be a wash because they're so similar.
They are, although I find this one easier to disengage.
Yeah. Okay.
I like the idea of washing it because of what they are functionally.
Now, to be fair, I think this is aluminum flip lever, whereas that's stainless steel. From a like bending perspective or whatever, but I think it's got to be a wash for me between the two.
Fine, I'll give it a wash. Give it a 1 for 1. We got to find our little document.
Oh, so you're agreeing with me?
I think I would like that's getting real picky, right? Of like, well, this one's easier to disengage. Like,
yeah, that's fair.
Does it matter? Does it matter that much? Like, it's a
you spent $1,500-$1,600.
Fine, then yeah, I do give the point to that. But so we're gonna disagree. It's gonna be a 1-to-1 anyway because I don't agree.
All right, perfect. Okay, next up, ergonomics between the two.
We'll do this real time. Mind you, over other Luxes, improved massively. Really love the foregrip on this, genuinely. Versus, let's see this bad boy.
It's the stuff, guys. This might be one of the tougher ones between the two. I'm probably gonna pick. I'm gonna pick the Luxe.
I am too.
I'm picking the Luxe from an ergonomic standpoint. The GTX is very long gun.
It is.
And I like long guns. We know this, but it's.
I even like the R5 being long over that, but like.
Yeah.
Here's my thing. For me, it's the foregrip. I actually prefer the trigger frame on this one, but the foregrip is that different to me that I prefer it on the Luxe, and the fact that it's
honestly, I think if this was vertical, it would
instead of bowed out,
it would be a game changer for me. That's really what it boils down to. I like the feel of the trigger and the trigger frame and the way it fits in my hand. I like better.
It's not as fat.
If it was just a little bit shorter, or if this was vertical, I like the rubber more than I like the metal. It's easier to grip.
I like other rubbers more than I like the metal on that. I don't like the rubber on this, and I've gone on record saying that in multiple videos.
Yeah. We'll see how it ages over time. Okay, so ergonomically, we're going to both pick the Idol. It's a little bit smaller, compact of a gun, so
I'm going to weigh them.
There's that portion of things. Okay, weight between the two. I can already tell you who's going to be the winner on this one. It's going to be the Luxe, but we're going to see by how much.
I can't see that.
Stand up,
dog. I cannot see over top of that.
Okay. Got the marker and the Luxe Idol. Go ahead. I know this is like 2 pounds, 2 ounces. Okay, we got 1 pound, 14.6 on the Luxe, and the GTX is 2 pounds. Oh, I didn't take this ASA thing off. It's 2 pounds, 3.6 ounces. I think with this plastic portion of the gun mount off, it's like 2 pounds, 2 ounces, so it's like a 3 to 4 ounce difference between the two. So weight, obviously, is going to go to Luxe Idol. Luxe Idol's one of the lightest markers out there.
Which is crazy,
maybe the shocker,
because it's full metal construction. Like it's just so it looks
just small.
Heavier.
Yeah, it's just small.
I guess that's fair.
So okay, next up, guys, we've got maintenance between the two markers.
I have to defer to Joel on that one. I do not work on guns.
So I officially stripped the GTX last week or 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
And I'll touch upon that upon reliability of why I had to do that. The bolt system is very similar to a Gamma Core system. MacDev actually said that to me, and they're like, it's very similar. So it's very simple to maintain the bolt system on that. You just pop up the bolt cap and pull out, very similar to the Planet Eclipse markers. And the reg is very simple to maintenance. I mean, this is really tough. I think for me, I'm probably going to pick...
Which is harder to take apart? Because it's fully toolless.
Yeah, I'm going to pick the Idol.
Yeah.
Well, so the maintenance portion of things, if you're just maintaining the marker, it's going to be easier to maintain the Idol because the bolt pulls out very similar to this, but the reg is very, very simple to maintenance on the Idol, and you can take the entire thing apart toollessly, clean it, put it back together, and you don't have to worry about Allen keys. Whereas this, it does use the same durometer O-rings. I wish Plant or DLX would finally get to the point where they're not using all these funky O-rings and they just go to standard O-rings. I wish they would do that. And for that reason, that is a huge, yeah, that is a huge problem with the Luxe markers. But with that said, if you're just maintaining the marker, we're not talking about reliability here. It's going to be easier maintenance that than it is going to be to maintenance the GTX, because if you have to maintenance the regulator on this, you got to take the grips off and then pull the reg out. So I'm picking the Idol. So, and you're going to just defer to me on that.
For that one, I haven't worked on the MacDev at all, so I can't have an opinion on that.
Okay. Build quality, reliability.
Okay, so I'm going to get real honest. For one, we know MacDev has had issues in the past with reliability and all that kind of stuff, but we, in the present day, have now witnessed something different. I'll let Joel touch on that in a second. For me, I have seen a lot of things come out of the DLX factory not working because of electronics. So how that turns and how that plays into build quality per se, I don't know, but at least the quality of some of the parts that are getting used, I think, can be questionable. And that's, you guys know I'm a fan. I'm a stan for them, but I'm not going to bullshit that they haven't had a lot of problems with the electronics coming out of that factory. So,
that's fair.
I don't know.
That's fair. For me, I'm not going to make a judgment yet because I haven't had enough time with the GTX. Basically, what's going on with the GTX is there's been some issues with the solenoid spools. To MacDev's credit, before we get too deep into this and people start flaming them on the internet, I've already had a discussion with them. All markers moving forward are shipping with new solenoid spools, solenoid spools, seals that are more robust, which should cause the fixing issue. I got on a call with them. I said, hey, listen, I took this gun out to practice. I used it. It started leaking. You know, I entirely disassembled the marker, lubed the solenoid spool, looked at it, assessed it. Everything looked fine. And with all that said, I put it all back together. It stopped leaking. Took it out to practice. It started leaking again. I had a meeting with them on Monday or Tuesday. I'm like, just so you know, this is a problem. And they're like, we've already got new solenoid spools on the way to us. We're going to ship you some so that you can resolve that issue. And on top of that, I said, well, what about markers? And they said all markers moving forward should have this new seal in it. So with that said, assuming that that fixes the problem,
I would say it's going to be a non-issue.
If it is a non-issue and they fix that issue, then I'm actually going to give the build quality / reliability to the MacDev marker.
Because here's the thing, so that's a similarity, right? It took a year and a half for Luxe to figure it out with the grips on this thing.
Yeah.
With batteries on the TM40, I know that was a horrendous problem. When this gun came to me specifically, the battery wasn't working right. Had to get it looked at and worked on. So now it did get resolved as well, but this has also been out significantly longer. With no,
for sure. That's a good point.
With no long-term solution.
That's a good point.
So,
and you know, to both companies' credit, have been very apt to fixing any issues that we've had.
They're very quick to get to anything.
They are, but with that said, I think that like this is a kind of a bulletproof design. Mm-hmm. It's very similar to the CS3s internally, and with that said, I think if they can fix that whatever's leaking inside there. I don't know if it's the gasket that seals between the solenoid and the frame of the gun, or if it's the solenoid spools. If it is the solenoid spools, which we'll know here in a few days, and all we got to do is just replace those. Those are a simple thing for us to replace, and you know, whatever we have in stock, I'll be replacing those.
Question to the business owner.
Yes.
How many of these have we sold so far?
How many?
If the less than 10, if the less than 5 or 10 people that have bought them call us, say they're having that issue, but we've been given the part, would we take it in,
100%.
replace it, and give it back?
Yes, 100%.
So if you did get one from us and you can prove that with the serial number, give us a call if your solenoid starts leaking. We'll take care of it.
Yeah. So,
credit
all right.
to MacDev.
Next up, we're talking about tech support between these two markers.
Well, we're kind of already halfway there.
We're already halfway there.
Yeah. So they're both responsive. They both will resolve anything that comes their way. And this, I think, will give credit. It's going to be a wash because MacDev has shown now that they are really stepping up.
Lots of initiative.
That was our biggest thing. You go back and watch videos from early 2025. We said, pending how the year goes with them and the support that we get for their product, that will determine how their scores go in future comparisons. Well,
Yes.
so far so good.
I had a call with them. It's Thursday. I had a call with them on Monday. They sent me a full parts kit so that I could take care of any markers, and then they also had solenoid spool seals, the new version, out to me the same day. The same day. So, and a DLX, we have a good relationship with them.
Always.
And, you know, they've always been very apt to servicing anything.
This was resolved in less than a day. So
Yeah, and when it comes to tech support at regional events, if you're a player that's just playing regionally, or if you're playing, say, scenario, whatever the case may be, that's going to be a tough one. I think in that sense it could be a wash, because I don't see either MacDev or DLX being at every single event like Planet is or Die is. So with that said, that's a tough one for me. I mean, what do you think, Doug? I'm going to give it a wash between these two when it comes to tech support.
I don't have a lot of memory of ever seeing a die tech in an MSXL.
No. I have seen die techs at scenario events, though.
Okay.
To be fair.
Okay. So, and I don't go to a ton of scenario. I really don't.
Yeah.
Planet is always there. MacDev, I've never seen them except at national events. Everyone's at the national events, though, so it doesn't really count. Because, like, in my memory, really the last, I think, kind of full season I played was like 2023 as far as MSXL goes. And DLX was there to the best of my memory.
They used to be. They used to be, not sure why they don't. And, you know, some of these other larger leagues like WCPPL, I'm not sure. Sound off if you guys are a West Coast guy and know whether or not they're at those events.
Are they at Max? Or are you going to
They're
find out
not
this
at
year?
Max. No one's at Max. No one's at Max, to be fair. Not even Planet. So.
Okay.
So, with that said, there's room for improvement on any of these marker manufacturers. And to be honest with you, when we're there, we're more than willing to try and service things if we can, if we're not busy. So, yeah. So, tech support, guys, long story short, basically, I would say it's a wash between the two. They're both not Planet, but they're both good. All right, next up, we're going to talk about upgradability between these two markers.
Mech frame coming.
Yeah, I mean autococker thread on this, Luxe thread on that. That could be a downside if you want to change your barrel system. Other than that, guys, I mean, there's not much to upgrade on these markers.
Yeah, man, this category kind of sucks in the 2020s.
Yeah, I put it in there just for, you know, kind of our lower end markers, but the high end markers, they're so good from the factory that we don't really need to mess with them. Okay, that was really long. If you guys are still watching, thank you guys for tolerating us. We were definitely long-winded on this one, but there's a lot of content here. And so we are going to go outside. We're going to talk about shot quality, paint handling, and efficiency. And then we're going to come back inside and tell you guys where we would spend our money if it was our money. All right, guys, we are outside. We've got the Luxe Idol and the GTX. We've got some Valken tournament paint that's super brittle. It's what we've been doing all of our testing with. And both of these markers are chronoed right around the 280, 290 range. And we are here to do a little side-by-side, give you guys our impressions on shot quality. And then I'm going to hand it over to Doug for the same thing. And turn on the Idol here. I like the fact that the GTX just clicks on. Okay, GTX first here. Okay, and then now we've got the Idol. Oh, well, that's not good.
No bueno.
That's not good. Okay, give me 1 second here. Could be a bad ball or something like that. I'm gonna clean it out just to be sure here. Well, it might not be an issue with the actual, could be a smaller breach, but we came prepared.
I believe I do have the large bore in there.
You do have the large bore? Mm-hmm. And it did work on that, so that's not a good sign, especially when the GTX handled it just fine, but we'll give it another go here. Oh, you know what, Doug? I don't think you had your barrel all the way in.
My bad.
Yeah, that was the problem. All right, here we go. Man, I was shooting good. All right, now with the barrel screwed in completely, it's much closer. All right, so side by sides, here we go. Idol.
Try to do like this. There you go.
Okay, Doug, your turn, bud.
All right, switch it out. All right, guys, Luxe Idol, here we go. Yeah, dude, this thing rips. And I'm like getting, like with the wind, I'm getting the curve right to just nail that tree. Feels really good. Definitely feels good. I'm gonna leave it live, leave it pointing down range. Pick up my MacDev here, also still live. All right, side by side, MacDev GTX. I don't know, man. They both rip.
Both handled that paint great.
They did. Yeah, now that we got the barrel on, that's my bad, guys. I clearly am not a Luxe user, especially with the new ones. But man, that's...
As far as shot quality goes between the two, Doug, which one do you like?
I kind of like the Luxe.
I kind of like the Luxe.
Kind of feeling the Luxe today. And you guys know we've been loving the GTX, but like, man, I don't know, just like... She's ripping, and she's ripping hard.
One, you know, it might be a little bit more broken in because I remember most other Luxe Idols. Hopefully, people
This one?
hear me.
Oh, this is brand new.
It's brand new.
This is less than 1,000 shots on it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is brand spanking new.
Okay. All right. Well, there you have it.
So shot quality, I'm going with the Idol.
I'm gonna have to pick the Idol as well.
Yeah, dude.
On shot quality, and then efficiency, paint handling. They were both close. I think that was 100% a fluke.
Yeah, 100%.
With the paint handling situation on the Idol.
We'll talk about efficiency more when we get back to the office, I guess. But yeah, shot quality, guys, I'm giving that to the Luxe Idol, 100%. All right, guys. So we're back inside. Thank you for sticking with us. That was the more fun part of the video, so I'm sure more of you guys wanted to see that than anything. So let's wrap up. I will, of course, put the scores up when we're done talking about this in a second, because this is going to be kind of a tough one. But overall value, Joel, if I'm spending $1,600 or $1,500, if I'm spending over $1,000 to get one of these things in my hands, this is not an overall knock to the GTX, but I would absolutely go with the Luxe.
Okay.
There's a lot of things that I really like about both. Obviously, there's some features that we do prefer on the GTX over the Luxe, but that efficiency, man, is really just gonna, for now, is a killer. That and just like how many more barrels I can take with me. I do like that I can charge the GTX kind of wherever, but me as a person, pretty responsible about charging things that need to be charged. So like more barrels, a little more robust features, a very reliable gun physically, and just efficient. I think I'm gonna go with the Idol.
All right.
For value.
For me, it's tough. I like the feel of the GTX. I like the way that the GTX shoots. It is definitely a big difference on efficiency between the Idol compared to the GTX. The GTX, we got right around 1,200 shots. With the Idol, we're getting anywhere from, I think, like 1,700 to 1,800 shots. That is a huge difference, especially for a back player shooting a lot of paint. So there is that portion of things. I like the shot quality of the GTX probably more than I like the Idol. And I like the feel of the GTX, and it feels like a really well-built gun.
Yep.
With that said, the efficiency for me is definitely a game changer, and the paint handling, let's talk about that real quick because we talked about shot quality. Paint handling between these two markers, honestly, if I'm going to pick one, I'm actually going to probably pick the GTX on the paint handling.
That is the first time you have ever picked something on paint handling over...
and not washed it.
Yeah, or over the Luxe.
Yeah, I mean...
You love the way the Luxe handles paint.
The Luxe usually handles paint well, but I would say if, like, this thing thoroughly impressed me with the way it handled that super
Weren't we shooting it in like 5-degree weather?
We were shooting in 5-degree weather, and I shot an entire bag of 500, just one straight row.
Old paint.
Didn't hesitate.
That was brittle in November.
Yes, in cold weather, and it was sitting outside, and it handled it great. So I can't say that I feel as confident with Idol when it comes to paint handling.
A lot of things can't hold a candlestick to that. So.
Yeah. So with that said, overall, if I have to pick one, I'm going to pick the Luxe Idol, and I'm really only picking it because of the efficiency. That's really what it boils down to, and and I guess I would say the features as well.
Yeah.
The features, you know, the Pro Lock trigger frame is still something that no one else has done on the market. That is a game changer. It's a small marker. It's extremely efficient. It's more efficient than the Planet guns as well. And so for that reason, I'm going to pick the Idol between the two because of the features, the size of it, and you know, just overall the efficiency. So,
well, guys, there you have it. So for me editing later, final scores right here, because I forgot on 1 or 2 videos. I straight up just forgot and didn't put it. So scores right here, dumbass. There you go. So there is your final complete comparison scores between these two markers. Neither one is a bad idea. Feel free to pick up either one at the links in the description. Thank you guys for sticking around. We very much appreciate you. Subscribe if you haven't, and we will catch you in the next comparison video.
Thanks, guys.